Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. In this video, I'd like to discuss the different types of 7 chords, including major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, and minor major 7. And these 7 chords are simply chord extensions or extra building blocks that you add on to your existing triad. And the reason we use these 7 chords is that they really enrich the music we're playing. They add new textures and colors and new emotion to what we're playing that triads on their own don't. So they're going to be very beneficial for you to learn. If you've been reading chords for a while or sheet music, you've probably seen them come up already. And they're used across all genres. I use them when I'm writing music all the time. They sound really nice. So make yourself comfortable, grab a cup of tea if you want, and let's begin. So the way I think about music is through numbers or intervals, and I use those words interchangeably. And an interval is simply the distance between 2 points. And if you can understand your scales in terms of intervals, then all you're doing to create chords is applying a formula. So there's a formula for major 7 chords, dominant 7. Every single chord has its own formula. So that's why numbers are really important when it comes to music. And you don't even have to be too mathematical for this, but it's really interesting to see how maths and music can be interconnected, like everything else in life. So if we know that the C major scale on intervals is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, because 8 and 1 are the same in music, then all I do to create a C major 7 chord is pick out notes 1, 3, 5, 7. And that's a really beautiful chord. It's really calm and peaceful. And a really easy way of remembering the major 7 chord is that you're literally hitting the major 7 note of your major scale. And that's simply a semitone down from the root. So if I went here on a C, then the major 7 is just a semitone down. So it's an easy way of remembering it. And then to create a 7 chord, also called a dominant 7 chord, it is 1, 3, 5, flat 7. That's the formula. So we have a major 7, and now a dominant chord uses a flat 7. And that chord has a slightly different quality. It's kind of like jazz hands is what it reminds me of. And this is really commonly used in blues music, for example. Hear that sound a lot. And if you're wondering why is it called a dominant 7, what's so dominant about this flat 7? Well, the reason is because it's usually associated with being a chord 5 in a chord bank. So usually this chord will usually resolve to a chord 1. I won't go too deep into it, but that's why it's called dominant, because it's associated with chord 5, and chord 5 is called the dominant chord in a chord bank. So a nice song to help you remember the sound of the major 7 and the 7 chord would be Something by the Beatles. At the beginning it goes like this. Something in the way she moves attracts me like no other lover. So that's a chord of C, C major 7, C7, F. And of course we can invert this as well, and you could put that 7 here, which is a nice and easy way of playing it. So this is our C chord. I can also put the major 7 here because that's a B as well. I could play it there, or I could simply play it here. That's quite nice for voice leading, and voice leading is simply moving to notes closer together to get a smoother sound. So this is also C major 7. This is also C7. So now let's have a look at C minor 7. And again, it follows a formula 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. And if you're wondering why it goes to a flat 3, the main thing that distinguishes a major chord from a minor chord is the third. So a major chord is always a normal 3, a minor chord has a flat 3. And for me, that sound is very much like purple, actually like this. It's kind of got this color quality to it, like amethyst. So that's the color that is in my head when I think of it. And it's also very closely related to the minor pentatonic scale. So I kind of associate both of those with the color purple. Now, if that was C minor 7, C minor major 7 is simply going to be a raised 7. So the formula is 1, flat 3, 5, 7. That's got kind of a spooky vibe to it, I would say. It kind of sounds like a detective and he's after finding out some new information and there's a plot twist. You'll come across the minor major 7 less commonly, but it's used a lot in jazz music and some other types, and it's nice to know how to create it anyway. A nice song to help you remember the sound of the minor 7 and the minor major 7 would be My Funny Valentine, a really popular jazz standard. So it goes like this. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine. And of course, I can play that lowers again, same thing that I did with the other one where I inverted it. The 7 also exists here and the flat 7 exists here. So I could play it this way also. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine. So it's used as a walk down, but often you hear these chords not being played together. They might just be played in isolation also. So now let me show you a different perspective. Let's try it on A. So the A major scale is simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And also something I want to point out here is that just because a 3 is a black note, that doesn't necessarily mean it's minor. I think some people have asked me before, like, oh, if it's a black note, does that mean you're making it minor? But not always the case. So for example, A major 3 is a black note, and it's to do with the intervals. Again, this is why intervals are important. So the distance between 1 and a major 3 is 4 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you could think 3 in between. So it's to do with the actual distance of the intervals rather than the notes themselves. But anyway, so if I want to make a major 7 chord, I just pick out notes 1, 3, 5, 7. And again, an easy way of remembering the 7 is that it's always a semitone away from the root. And then if I want to get A7, A dominant 7, 1, 3, 5, flat 7. Different quality. Now to get A minor 7, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. And A minor major 7, 1, flat 3, 5, major 7. The confused chord. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful and good for you for showing up and learning about your chords today. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, I would really appreciate a like or subscribe as that helps me to grow too. So have a lovely day and God bless.